Okay, today, um, today is today is an eye awakening day. Today's Wednesday. Is 9:36 p.m. It is May 27th. Okay, and one, two, three, 4 more days before June of 2026. Okay. Um, it's amazing to me. It's truly a very very amazing thing to me. Okay, that I'm uh, making these conclusions about trading, which essentially is reprogramming my mind. Okay, it's essentially reprogramming my subconscious. Because if I don't think about it and talk about it, what it will do is it stirs in my subconsciousness of a program that exists that has not been adjusted based on the right principle of trading. But when I think about it and I experience it and form it into a consciousness, I have the ability to program it into my subconsciousness. So there is a thing called out of sight, out of mind. Okay, out of sight, out of mind. But in mind, whatever the thought is, it's already in there. Okay, but the out of sight part is the inability to take what it is, to shape it, and to make connections to it to come to a conclusion. Right? So I haven't really thought about this much. Okay, but because I didn't see the significance of this. Okay, which is the loss. Okay, loss, losing, and I've been losing for about 5.5 years. And just a few minutes ago, I made a conclusion that I was actually winning more than losing, and yet I haven't been able to make money. How is that possible? So 80% of the time I would win, but 20% of the time I would lose. But when I lose everything. Even in a single trade, I would lose everything. And so it's been repeating over and over again. Because I thought all I had to do, because I thought in my mind, because my subconscious has been programmed to thinking this way, that winning is more important than losing. Okay? But winning is natural. It happens. Winning, if it's winning, then it's going to win. I don't have to do much about it. Okay? But when I'm losing, I have to do something about it so that I can limit the loss. Of course, I have to do something about it when I'm winning too, but what keeps my account is I have to do something about it. When I'm winning, whether it's $5 or $10 or $1 billion, I'm winning. So all I have to do is do more of it. But when I'm losing, I only have one opportunity to make sure that I lose right. So in trading, losing is more important than winning. Because I could win $1 billion, but in one trade, I could lose that $1 billion in one trade. Because I haven't placed a significance in losing. Okay? Because in most cases, I would win. And then just that one trade will get me. Because I'm out of practice. Because I don't know how to lose gracefully. I don't have the consciousness of losing because I haven't had much practice. Because I loathe it. I dislike it. I don't want it. Okay? Because it always conjures up bad memories and I want to avoid it. But the good memory about losing is losing small. It's inevitable. Losing is a good thing. It needs to be welcomed into my life. I have to say to myself, losing is part of trading. I have to lose. So a few days ago when I lost 4.5%, I said to myself, losing, you have to lose to win. And then I lost 4.5%. I'm scratching my head. Where did that thought come from? Where did that thought come from? God whispered into me. I don't know. I just got goosebumps. A couple days ago, God whispered into my mind, and he said this. He said this. He said, you have to lose to win. You have to lose to win. And then I lost 4.5%. But that's not what he meant. I misinterpreted. He should have given me a stone tablet and written it from the sky because I was misinterpreting it. That's what people do in the Bible, right? People read it. That's why I wrote it. I read it 9 times cover to cover to understand it. Because when I read it the first time around, there are passages that were like breaking my brain because I couldn't understand it. Why did God say that? Okay? How could that be? That's impossible. As I was reading it, line by line, okay, line by line, I was reading it. How could that be possible? And it was excruciatingly painful. My brain was throbbing because it didn't make sense. It was impossible. Okay? That's the first time around. Just imagine that. Essentially what that meant was, essentially what I was doing is taking that Bible the first time that I read and using that to trade. And so it's excruciating. It doesn't make any sense. But I have to welcome the experience of losses in order to accept the certain parts, aspects of it, so that I can change it, and then, because it's. So there's like multimillionaires who have who have win ratio of 20%, 20 to 30%. So 70% of the time they lose, and they're profitable. That can only occur if they know how to lose, which means that their losses are small. That's what it means. So their winners are far bigger than losses. Those people, they understand the significance of losing. Okay, so then I thought to myself, okay, so the God placed that into my brain and says, you have to lose to win. Okay, so then I'm extrapolating it. I'm thinking to myself today, you have to lose to win. Which means losing is more important than winning. Okay? You have to know how to lose to win. Okay? That's why for the past 5.5, I've been doing like forward testing for the past 5.5 years. Now I'm collecting the data and compiling it together to make sense of it. I have to lose to win. Okay? I have to lose to win. So when I make that statement, I have to lose to win, means that I have to become very, very good at losing. And I heard of so many people say that on YouTube. So many people talk about this. So many people say that. They say, I have to lose. I have to lose well. I have to know how to lose. And some people say, I have not met a successful trader who doesn't know how to lose. Okay? That's what's happening. So it's like this memory. I related to the Bible the first time I read the Bible cover to cover from the beginning. It was the Good News Bible, by the way. When I read that, that's the Bible that I read from page to page. It was about 1,400 pages. It was about 1,400 pages. It was full of words. Every page had words in it. The first part is the Old Testament. The second part is the New Testament. It had 1,300 words in it. I distinctly remember reading every freaking word. It was the Good News Bible. And my mother was so proud. She told the priest and says, she read the Bible from cover to cover. And then as I was participating in something called RCIA, right? It's called a Rite of Christian Initiation for Adults, right? Something like that. And I had a few deacons there, and one of them was a very, very experienced Christian who used to like live abroad and helped out the church and stuff, right? But he was very, very critical of my sincerity to accept Jesus Christ as a Catholic, right? And then I blurted out like this. I said, I read the Bible from cover to cover. Okay? I told them that. I read the Bible from cover to cover 7 times, I told them, right? In front of these in front of these Catholic deacons and very, very experienced Christians, right? I told them, look, I read the Bible from cover to cover 7 times. I told them that, okay? Not too many people challenged me, and one of them was quite critical, almost not believing what I told them. Oh, anyway, so essentially, so essentially, so essentially, uh, losing is the same as reading the Bible from cover to cover, every word from beginning to the end. That's what it's like. Because when you're reading the Bible for the first time from cover to cover, there will be passages where there will be characters of the Bible who will be in the fire burning oven and they'll be dancing inside. And the brain will be in shock. It cannot accept it because the world is saying that's the truth. God is saying that is the truth. But the brain, who's not aware of that, who are aware of only the physical world, is incapable of adjusting and understanding it until the brain gets rearranged to accept it, believe it. Okay? So losing and the significance of how important it is just like reading the Bible from cover to cover. The first time around, your brain hurts, it throbs, it aches because it cannot understand it. But the 9 times around, on the 9th time, it makes perfect sense. It's like butter, okay? It's slicing into butter, warm butter, okay? So when I'm trading, I have not read the concept of losing from cover to cover. That is why every time I lose, because of the emotion that's involved, it hides the significance of its usage in trading. It hides in its pain and suffering. But that pain and suffering must be received in order to progress and advance into trading. Okay? I was trying to figure out some analogy of this, right? Could it be like the boot camp in the military, right? It's like so in life, like this reminds me of Australia, and so they're the natives there, okay? So they go on this thing called the walkabout, okay? So they go walkabout, and so those people who are lucky enough to come back, they have acquired the skills and the experience of the world, and they become a new person, okay? And they can lose their life doing that, seeking it out when they return. Because when they return, they become a man, okay? That's why they go on a walkabout, okay? That's what they do, right? So in many instances of being a Catholic, many are cradle Catholics. They have grown up in the world of the Catholic faith. Many will break away, okay, to experience life. And then when they finally put together the pieces of life and the life that they have lived before leaving, then many will put those two together and then they return, okay? It happens a lot of the times. It's very similar. Trading is just like that. Losing is just like that. Losing is more important than winning. But right now, for the past 5.5 years, I put more importance in winning than losing. Okay? Even though I heard these professionals talking about it, I never sat down and thought, okay, well, maybe they keep saying that. They keep saying that. One person says, I've never met a profitable trader who does not know how to lose. Right? That's what it means. It took me 5.5 years to finally put the importance of losing. It took me thousands of failed challenges. Probably about 1,000, I think. I got to do the math. I got to go do some search on it, but I believe it's like 1,000 challenges that were lost. Okay, 1,000 challenges were lost. Okay, in a matter of 5.5 years. Okay, 5.5 years. It took me that long to finally see the light. Okay, because my win rate when it was going well was about 80%, 75 to 80%. But when I start losing, there's a compounding of tilt that incorporates into it that causes first of all, I'm not closing it out. And so I get on tilt until it's like 4.5%, 5%. And then because that action causes me to be on tilt, the next day I would lose again and then lose the challenge. And then I get so fumed and furious, I would take money out of my bank account, buy another one, and lose it in 5 minutes. Because I'm not an expert at losing. An expert at losing. You don't have to be an expert to win. You don't. You don't have to be an expert at all to win. You can just put money in there, and if you're lucky, you'll make it. But you have to be an expert to be a loser. A good loser. Anybody can be a loser, but you have to be very good to be a profitable trader and lose. Okay? For the past 5.5 years, I put more emphasis on winning than losing. Okay? At the onset, if I had thought about like losing first, I would have essentially, the first priority is just use the demo. That's completely separating me from losing at all. Even though I'm losing, it's not really losing because there's no loss on record of money being lost. Okay? But because I put so much emphasis on making money, I put real money in there and I lost. After 5.5 years, now I'm coming to the terms that even though my win rate is 75%, okay, my average winners are small compared to my average losers. And then finally what does me in is that when I lose big. And when I lose big, all the wins that I had from the beginning of the challenge gets erased. And so I have to start all over again. In trading, losing is more important than winning. So I have to focus on losing first so that I become very good at it, which means that I have prepared myself to lose the right way so that when I'm winning, then I can keep the winnings.